G'day and welcome to Four Wheels Good. Well, with the holiday season coming up, Nikki and Eamon will be looking at the joys and pitfalls of driving motorhomes and reporting on the various ways we can keep our cars clean inside and out. Cars on test this week include 4 family estates. We also have a feature from Germany from Continental's famous tyre testing track, the Contidrom. But first, Mike Rutherford reports from Lanzarote, where an astonishing little car was revealed to the world's media.
Look at that. Better legs than Ginny Buckley. And not even as hairy. This little thing is called the Seat Arosa. Seat is a Spanish company. Let me just give you a little brief history lesson. It's a Spanish company that was owned by Fiat of Italy. Fiat walked out on Seat, left them in the wilderness. Seat didn't quite know what to do with itself. Eventually was bought up by Volkswagen of Germany. And thank God they were, because the result is this little thing here called the Arosa, which is a fine little motor car, about to go on sale in Britain in right-hand drive for just £6,995 on the road. And that also includes a 3-year warranty. Well, this is quite a revelation. Here we are chugging along in our little 1-litre Seat Arosa, which is how they say it here. All you need to speak Spanish is a speech impediment. And I've got to say, 1 litre, you'd never believe it, because the thing is fine. We're on this sort of bypass at the moment, here in wherever we are, Lanzarote, I don't know where that is, Canaries somewhere, and we're chugging along at 100 miles an hour, and it's absolutely fine. Oops, not if you select wrong gear like that. But really, it's very refined. It's a very, very small car. I wouldn't like to be sitting in the back, when in fact, you really, although it's a 4-seater, 2 adults in the back, I think, would have great difficulty getting comfortable, because there's not very much leg room at all. But who cares about them? Anyone in the back is a non-paying passenger. It's not them that's important. It's people in the front, in particular in this seat. And this seat, really, it's great. I mean, I've got plenty of room. There's plenty more room for me to stretch my legs if I wanted to. This would accommodate a driver over 6 foot, no problem. At the wheel, well, you'd never believe you are in a micro car, which is effectively what this is. This is, you know, sub-super mini, 1 rung down below the sort of Polos and Ford Fiestas of this world. But it goes, and it's got a airbag on this one. In fact, it's got a passenger side airbag as well. We've got air conditioning in this particular version. Obviously, you have to pay more for all this stuff, but the radio comes as standard, power-assisted steering comes as standard. So you're not just getting a cheap car, you're getting a cheap car with a very, very high specification as well. I kind of like this this bare metal on the doors. There's no need for all this cosmetic cushioning and furnishing on cars. Let's get back to bare metal, back to basics. And it really is oozing quality, this car. You feel like you're in a Volkswagen, and that's because you are in a Volkswagen. This is effectively a Volkswagen with a Seat badge. This is effectively the car that will come in beneath the Volkswagen Polo. And the question is, when Volkswagen themselves start marketing this car, built in the same factory by the same workers as the Volkswagen Lupo, believe it or not. Have you ever heard such a ridiculous name for a car? The Volkswagen Lupo will be out next year, or you can go for this, the Seat Arosa, built in the same factory, which is out this year. The difference between the Volkswagen version of this car and the Seat version of this car, which is the one we're in at the moment, is that the Seat version is cheaper. The Seat version has a 3-year warranty against the Volkswagen Lupo's 12-month warranty. And really, there's no contest. Don't bother going for the Volkswagen. Don't bother hanging on for the Volkswagen, because the Seat gives you the identical thing for less money and with a better warranty. This is really rewriting the rule book. What it means is that for £7,000, for less than £7,000, you can be driving a car that is quiet, refined, sophisticated, legendary build quality, safe, well equipped, got every possible feature you'd need. I mean, we've even got a rev counter here on a car that's under £7,000. This is the smart money. You know, the smart money goes on a car like this. Forget about spending a fortune. Spend less than £7,000, pick up a car like this, you get a hell of a lot for your money. And what's more, there's not a great profit for car manufacturers in building cars like this. They don't really like us buying cars like this because they really don't make too much money out of them. You're getting a car pretty damn close to sort of cost price, and that's great news for us, the punters. I mean, if you wanted points out of 10 for this car, not necessarily for its appearance, not necessarily for its performance, but if you wanted points out of 10 in terms of its appeal to the buying public, in terms of its suitability for the market in 1997, I'd give it 9.5 out of 10. This has got to be the buy of the year. And really, it's no exaggeration to say that if you're in the market for a car in this sort of league, in this sort of price league, of this sort of size, this is undoubtedly the best car in the world for the money, period. Well, here they are, the cheap seats. Not that these cars are cheap in the tacky sense of the word, they're inexpensive cars, and the man that's brought them to you is Kevin Rose, the Managing Director of SEAT UK. Kevin, congratulations. Nice to see a car manufacturer putting on the market something that's unique and, for once, very, very good value for money.
Yeah, we think so. I mean, the entry car's 6,995 on the road. I mean, that's actually on the road. No disguised charges. And that's with power steering as standard, split folding rear seat, coloured bumpers, height adjustable steering wheel. You know, a very, very good, really a mid-range spec for an entry car. So we're very confident it'll sell.
And if you want something of a better specification, you can actually order that as an option package.
That's right. We're going to have 3 or 4 option packs for comfort, safety, style, whatever, which again will be very, very well priced. So for the price of, let's say, our competitor from Ford, you're going to have a very much better equipped car.
And when we talk about higher spec, we're talking about things like air conditioning, for example, which traditionally you only see on luxury cars.
That's right. Air conditioning, ABS in some of the packs as well.
Twin airbags as
Twin airbags, yeah. I mean, unusually what we're doing is bringing those kind of options to a class, as you say, which hasn't had them before.
What else is happening on the SEAT front? What other future products can we look forward to?
Well, really, you can look forward to 3 or 4 years of incredible product change, product development. Next year we have a replacement for the Toledo range. Later this year we have an estate version of the Cordoba coming onto the market. Not long after that, we start to look at the Ibiza again. So it's a constant regeneration of the range.
Now, given that all these cars are from the Volkswagen family, or the platforms are from the Volkswagen family, does that mean the new Toledo will look pretty much the same as the Passat?
No, the Toledo replacement will be from the same platform that's given us the Audi A3, the Skoda Octavia, and will give us the new Golf. And I think if you look at those 3 cars, they are very different cars, albeit from the same basic engineering platform. And you'll see the same with the Toledo replacement as well.
Generally speaking, you know, SEAT, I think, have been sort of sandwiched between the quality European cars, you know, the German, the Volkswagens, the Renaults of this world, and perhaps the Japanese. And people I think the problem is that people view Spanish cars as they might view cars that are from Malaysia or perhaps from Korea. And I think that's a little unfair, because I think you're slightly above that, aren't you?
I think we're mainstream European. I don't think there's really any difference now between cars produced in France, Germany or Spain. And people in the UK buy a lot of Spanish-built cars. They may not realise, but every Opel Corsa or Vauxhall Corsa is built in Spain, Fiesta and so on. And I think all of those manufacturers will say they've got well-engineered cars, so not a problem.
And in the future, with this model, we're going to be seeing, very soon after launch, we're going to be seeing larger petrol engines, 1.4s for example. We'll be seeing a turbo diesel as well?
We'll be seeing the SDI engine to begin with, the direct injection engine. Whether we get the turbo diesel engine or not is still to be decided. But you can be sure it won't just be a 1 litre and 1.4 petrol.
A mighty midget which should attract the buyers with its sub £7,000 price tag. But will it? No matter how sensible a choice may be, often the heart rules the head, and many would gladly pay more to opt for a prestige badge on the grille. Well, next week, Mike will have another example of this when he drives the new Mitsubishi Galant, which should in theory be a direct competitor with the likes of BMW. Well, we stay with small cars now, but something with much more performance. Winner of the What Car Awards as Best Coupe of the Year, Steve Fowler drives the stunning little Fiat.
A coupe has two main jobs in its life. One is to look sensational and the other is to be a hoot to drive. And this Fiat Coupe scores on both counts. There's no questioning the looks. It looks absolutely fabulous, from inside and outside. And on the road with a new 5-cylinder 20-valve engine under the bonnet, there's plenty of power, plenty of grip and agile handling. And all for under £20,000, well, this coupe takes some beating. In fact, the 20-valve turbo, this car's bigger brother, won the What Car Best Coupe of the Year award for 1997. Once upon a time there was a car designer. Now this chap was a bit of a sexual inadequate and he needed something that would really help him pull the girls. Now he obviously lived in the UK, so there's no point in having a soft top because it rains most of the time. So he invented the coupe. Now what a coupe's got to be is stylish and great to drive. You never know, one of those girls might get behind the wheel one day. And the latest incarnation of the coupe comes from Fiat. Now last year they brought out the 16-valve coupe. Looks absolutely stunning, great to drive, never much wrong with it. And lo and behold, what have Fiat done now? They've gone and bettered it. Looks the same, but under the bonnet, that's where the secret lies. A 5-cylinder, 20-valve engine. And boy, does it make this thing go. There are just so many things to love about this Fiat Coupe. Whether you're outside or inside, it looks absolutely fantastic. You've got this strip of metal that runs around the interior with the designer's name right in front of you. All the dials are laid out just as you'd wish in front of them. There's a great gear change, and if you really want to abuse the thing, change down, accelerate, and just listen to the roar of that 5-cylinder engine. Fantastic. It's not all about power either. The steering is razor sharp, there's a huge amount of grip, and you can throw it through corners with confidence. What many coupes don't do is provide the sort of feedback that you expect from an out-and-out sports cars. Some of them are just dressed up hatchbacks. That's not what this Fiat Coupe is. Designed for the purpose, and bloody good at it too. For around 20 grand you can have this Fiat Coupe, or for a little bit extra you can go for its hairier brother, the 20-valve turbo, the car that we voted our best coupe for 1997. I think if I had the choice I'd probably go for the 20-valve turbo, because of the kind of girls that I expect to get in this car, they definitely want to know what's under the bonnet. Know what I mean?
Yeah, we get your drift, Steve, you old poser. Now, when image is all, the hard part isn't just keeping up the repayments, but keeping it clean so it continues to impress. After the break, some top valeting tips. Stay with us. Hi and welcome back to Four Wheels Good. But how clean are those wheels? Nikki and Eamon report on the pros and cons of the various ways to restore your car's gleaming showroom appearance.
And valeting services and automatic car washes have enjoyed a boom. Although obviously more expensive than a Sunday afternoon's hard graft, they offer the sweat-free route to shiny paintwork and clean seats. Which raises one of the great mysteries of the universe. Should you take your grimy car to the jet wash or the roller wash? Is it to be a plain ordinary number 1 or a number 5 with all the trimmings?
Nikki investigates the car washes. I'm here in between showers at Burke Services on the M62 to have a rummage through people's cars.
First stop, the jet wash. You still do it yourself, but lots of options.
Oh, well, it's not bad actually, the boot, is it? You've obviously had something dirty in because you've covered it with old carpet from your lounge.
Yeah, I'll put it back in the lounge when we get home.
Prices vary. They start at about £1 for the basic wash, going up to 3 or 4 for the full works. This is the best method for getting the salt out of your wheel arches. The high pressure hose works brilliantly. Trouble is, you can get soaked. These cycles don't last long, so you have to work quickly. If you're left with a soapy car, you'll feel rather silly going to ask for another token. The verdict? It takes less elbow grease than doing it yourself, and it's good for concentrating on the really mucky bits. The car now seems really clean, though it's hard to tell properly because there's no way of drying it off. Or yourself.
Look at this.
In the front. There's some we made earlier.
Look at this! It's disgusting!
If you want to stay dry, then take your dirty car to a traditional roller brush wash. The range of prices is roughly comparable to the jet wash, but you can also opt to have the car dried and sometimes have an under chassis wash as well. The end result? Cars look lovely and streak-free if you've had a blow dry, as long as it's not pouring with rain, but you can get the odd trace of stubborn dirt left, and of course there's potential for disaster if you forget to lower the aerial or close the sunroof.
Egg box. What's in here, sir?
Golf balls.
Dear. Let's have a look in here. What's in here? Nothing.
Oh,
What's that?
a sock for those walking boots.
Most service stations have a car vacuum for less than £1, which beats messing around with extension leads at home, and it's a lot more powerful than a portable in-car vacuum. But if it all seems too much like hard work, why not let someone else do the whole job for you?
Could do with a wash outside.
Certainly could.
Let's have a look. Does this open up?
No, that's actually fixed, unfortunately.
Right. Donor card. These are the children's.
They are, yes.
T-shirt, sweatshirt. Oops. Swim packs. And a box of rubbish.
This is what I call a car wash. Now, Richard, the car I've brought in is filthy. It's the one we film out of on the road for the programme, and it hasn't been washed all series. What would you recommend?
We will vac the seats, the carpets, clean the dash, clean all the glass, all the plastics, empty your ashtrays if you smoke, wash your mats. Then you get what's called a luxury hand car wash, which is when we completely cover all the car in a special foam, clean all the alloy wheels with a specialist alloy cleaner, hand wash all the car. Then the wash technicians will be responsible for it going through the wash, the rinse, the wax, the blowers. Then about 8 people will all leather your car, dress the tyres, then clean the outside of the glass.
What gave you the idea of a place like this?
I felt it was something that was necessary. I don't have the time to clean my own car. Most of the people I know, they don't have time to be cleaning their own cars. If they do want to clean their own car, it just takes forever. And it costs money. You've got to buy all the equipment, the chemicals.
Oh, well, for less than a tenner, the car's immaculate inside and out. They've even made it smell gorgeous. Strikes me it might be rather saleable just now. Wonder if the director would notice if it went missing.
I think he probably would. Well, it'll take some scrubbing to get the grime off our camera cars, I can tell you. And because we work our crew cars so hard, we thought it'd be a good idea to let you know how we're getting along with the vehicles we actually use here at Granada TV. We'll have that report in next week's programme. Well, later in this edition, we'll look at the joys of going on holiday in a motorhome, but maybe a simple estate would be fine to transport your family's luggage. Well, here's Ginny Buckley with a review of 4 family estates on offer today.
Not that many years ago, it was impossible to drive an estate car and sit behind the wheel of a stylish vehicle that would turn your friends green with envy. But the arrival on the scene of the A4 Avant and the BMW Touring Series changed all that. And as demand for these lifestyle vehicles is increased, so has the competition. So today, we're doing a group test on estates. How will the well-established Renault Laguna match up against this, the Vauxhall Vectra, Vauxhall's first estate car for 8 years? Next, we've got the Ford Mondeo, the all-new Ford Mondeo, I must add, in case we've forgotten. And finally, the long-awaited Peugeot 406.
The Peugeot 406 estate is a great compromise between driving enjoyment and refinement. It's got the softest ride of the 4. The 2-litre engine isn't the Peugeot's strong point, and it does feel underpowered at times. However, once you get up to cruising speeds, it's as refined as the Mondeo.
Well, 4 out of 5 for style, it's a good looking car inside and out. 4 out of 5 again for performance, it's certainly extremely good on the road and the engine's not so bad. And 4 out of 5 for practicality. You can get a 7-seat option and it's a good load space, even though it's not quite as good as the Renault Lagunas.
This is the long-awaited replacement for the 405 estate, and the 406 has excellent versatile load space. There's storage features in the side, and the parcel shelf can hold up to 75 kilos, though I'm not going to risk it. And don't forget, there's the option of the 2 seats in the boot, although to be honest, from having sat in them, I know which one's got the most headroom.
The Renault Laguna is the also around here. It's the least powerful and has only got an 8-valve engine. As a result, it's the slowest and least refined of the 4. The Laguna is also let down by its ride and handling. The ride can be choppy, especially when the estate's unladen, and is not as engaging to drive as either the 406 or the Mondeo estate.
What do you like about it?
Well, basically, it's got the best load space and it's the most practical. So if you want a serious load lugger, then this is the car for you.
So versatility really is the key with it, is it?
Absolutely. It's got an excellent load area and also it's got the option of 7 seats, so you can have an extra row of seats in the back.
Of all the estates, the Renault has the most load space, and this version, like the 406, comes with the extra 2 seats in the rear. One good thing that this has that the others don't is not just a heated rear windscreen, but heated side screens as well.
Although it's not always a crucial factor when you're picking an estate, the Mondeo is the most engaging car here. It's got fantastically sharp and evolving steering and has great body control. As a result, it's the most fun to punt around B roads, but is equally at home on the motorway where a tall 5th gear gives you extra cruising refinement.
So how does the new Mondeo estate compare?
Well, very good. They've made it better to drive, even though they haven't made it better estate. It's got no extra luggage capacity than the old one had.
Could you have got much more in?
Probably not, no. I mean, it's got a great, very usable load area. It's very square, there's very little wheel arch intrusion, and there's a decent luggage capacity too, much better than the Vectra.
So how does it drive in comparison to the Mondeo Saloon?
identical, just as good a ride, just as good steering, handling, it's all first class really. And of course you've got the brilliant Ford interior too.
The old Mondeo estate always proved popular in its class. This time round the styling's improved, it's better to drive, but it still has excellent load space.
The Vectra 2-litre estate boasts another great Vauxhall engine. It's the swiftest here and is easiest to overtake slow-moving traffic in. It's also the most economical. Unfortunately, the Vectra doesn't exactly dazzle when you push it hard on a B road. It runs wide of its line quickly, and vague steering doesn't always let you know what's going on.
Looks-wise, it doesn't seem that different to much else that's around. What do you think of it?
No, they haven't really gone bananas in the styling department. It's, how we say, conservative, I think.
Is there really that much you can do with an estate, though?
Well, not really, because at the end of the day they have to be functional, and that usually takes precedence over design.
So what about functional this time? Have they managed it?
Well, in some regards, yes, but unfortunately, the Vectra estate doesn't have the same load capacity as some of its rivals, for instance, the Ford Mondeo and the Renault Laguna, and the new Peugeot 406 that we're also testing.
So that lets it down, do you think?
Absolutely, yes. It's down in the cubic feet department by at least 2 cubic feet, which at the end of the day is not great if you want to use it as a working vehicle.
Well, Chaz, at the end of a wet, windy and cold day, perfect really for testing estates. What have you gone for? What decision have you made?
Well, there's no doubt about it, the Peugeot 406 and the Ford Mondeo are the driver's choices, but it boils down to the fact that if you want the maximum load capacity possible and the best value for money, you have to pick the Renault Laguna.
Sounds good to me. I've had enough. I'm cold, wet and miserable. Keys, please. You can have that.
But remember, Ginny, it was the Peugeot 406 that they actually named Estate of the Year. Well, it shows how buying a car is really such a personal choice. But when you do buy a car, do you specify the tyres you want? Well, after the break, we visit the Conti Drom near Hanover, where testing is done thoroughly and to the limit. And welcome back to Four Wheels Good here on Granada's Men and Motors channel. And wheels are what we're looking at now, or rather the extraordinarily complex pieces of metal, fabric and rubber which surround them. I'm talking about tyres naturally, and it's not often that inquiring camera crews are allowed behind the fences at Continental Tyres' main European testing ground near Hanover. Here's an exclusive report of what happens behind the scenes.
The reason that we set up this facility, which you can imagine is a very expensive one, was that only here we can make all the tests in a way not disturbed from the normal traffic and in a way where we can get really reproducible results. Yes? There is a lot of new development in the tires. And the reason that you don't recognize is that for the customer the tire always looks like black and round, nothing else. But in reality there is a very close development together with the car producer, and I would say more or less every tire is very closely and directly developed together with the car producer to fit exactly what the car producer wants. If you look here, for instance, you see our big oval. It has a length of about 2 miles, and it allows to drive here with a speed of about 180 kilometers without any side force. And the maximum speeds which are possible here are only limited from the car and from the driver.
Well, I have to say I'm very surprised about how much goes into actually making a tyre. You know, you buy one off the shelf, you never think about anything that goes into it. This place is quite amazing. It's got fantastic tracks, wet banked sort of 58-degree bank circuits where we were going around and pulling 2.5 G, which is quite fantastic, and that's to sort of feel the squish that goes into a tyre when you go around the corners. And also on a wet circuit, they're just testing the level of grip, you know, before a car will actually break traction. All sorts that goes on. It is quite fantastic, and also braking as well.
Now, you're a kind of girl who likes to take cars to the limit, and here, this would be a playground, wouldn't it?
This is a serious playground. I would love a job testing tyres without a doubt. Just hooligan around, arse out action all over the place. It's fantastic.
But of course this is a serious scientific place of work. This rail is used in a test that's unique to the Contidrome.
That the car is guided on a rail, which makes it possible that the car always runs exactly the same line, and this gives a much better precision for the test results. It is so important because on every road there are different friction coefficients, even if you are running only a few centimeters away from the normal road, and therefore under these corrosive conditions which we need here, this really makes a difference. Here on this handling course we can test our tires under real extreme situations. We can do it under conditions which in the normal roads are not possible at all. So you might say that this is of no use, but what we can do here, we can test how tires behave under extreme conditions like they happen before, or to prevent an accident.
But of course accidents can happen on both dry and on wet days. So to simulate a wet environment when it's a sunny day like this, you simply switch on the waterworks. The Contidrome here near Hanover in Germany is the main testing area for the whole of the Continental Tyre Group. But how important is this area for the UK market?
Well, the Contidrome here is very important to us. It's the test facility for all the markets in the world. So here they're looking to develop tyres that are suitable for our market, for hot climates, for cold climates, and so on. So they really need to meet every condition.
In some cold climates, you'd have a winter tyre on your car, and then you'd take it off in the spring.
So this would be a typical summer tyre or an all-season tyre that we would use in Britain all year round. It's got quite large tread blocks. It's putting a lot of rubber down on the road, so it gives very good grip in the dry. But it's got these large grooves that run right round the circumference to give water drainage. So it's good in wet conditions as well. But of course in Central Europe, in Austria, Switzerland, southern Germany, they have quite snowy winters. We might get 2 days of snowy, they will get several months. So the motorists will need to change onto a set of winter tyres for the whole season. Now the main difference on these is these tiny serrations in the tread blocks. What you need to give you grip in wet and icy conditions is as many surfaces as possible to actually cut in to the snow and through the water. And that's what these tiny serrations do, and they really do give excellent grip in the snow. The other difference will be in the tread compound itself, in the rubber compound. This one will be made to work in really cold conditions, so it will give good performance just in very cold weather, in very cold wet weather. Whereas this one is optimised to work in the sort of temperate conditions that we have in the UK. What today's motorist is often looking for is a quiet tyre, a tyre that will reduce the noise level within the car. And the tyre now can contribute up to 50% of the tyre noise, purely because the engineers have worked so hard to get engine noise levels down and so on. One of the things we do here at the Contidrome is to test noise levels, and the engineers will design the tyre. It will be computer designed to make sure that the tread blocks are of different sizes and they meet the road at a different time, so that noise levels aren't built up, because the tyre can sound just like a big drum.
There are so many different types of tyres, and when your garage tells you you need a tyre change, how many of us actually question the characteristics of the tyre that ours is being replaced by? Is the average UK motorist really clued up about tyres?
Well, absolutely not. No, tyres are, as you know, a distressed purchase, and people generally think that tyres are too expensive for what they are, and nobody realises the amount of technology that goes into tyres, and the fact that they are a high-tech product and actually good value for money. In the UK at the moment, the UK is the cheapest market for tyres in Europe.
Why is that?
Basically because there are a lot of different brands in the UK. That's one good reason. Another reason is basically the temperament and the culture of the British person, I would say.
So next time you're at your tyre depot, ask some questions and get some answers, and get the tyre that suits your needs, and don't do this at home.
What do you mean? That was me coming into work. Only joking. Our report there from Continental Tire's famous Contidrom in Germany. What extraordinary lengths tyre manufacturers go to make sure we get a quality product that's safe, something we never think about and take for granted. Well, stay with us. We're back very soon when we take a break in a motorhome. Hi and welcome back to Granada's weekly motoring programme, Four Wheels Good. Well, with summer holidays looming, we thought we'd do a feature on those huge motorhomes you see around. What choice is there, and how do they get the most of the space inside?
It's pure Hollywood, where the big stars get 5-star treatment.
It's a small American motorhome, big enough for a jumbo jet and packed with every luxury to help the overworked actor relax between takes.
Great for a 12-lane freeway, but let's face it, would you like to try a Lakeland hairpin bend in this?
So, with the holiday season looming, let's head for the hills in two more sensibly sized British motorhomes.
The Eldis AutoQuest Elite 420, and from Swift, the Contiki 650S.
Motorhomes are commonplace in the States and in Europe, but here they've only just begun to challenge the caravan. Why?
It's obvious when you think about it. You can leave the caravan on the drive and continue to use the family car day to day. This is much too big to take to the supermarket every 5 minutes.
So you're left with a complete vehicle not being used all week at least. And motorhomes come dearer than caravans, of course. That Eldis has a 2.5 litre diesel and costs nearly 28.5 grand. This Swift has a 2.5 litre turbo diesel and comes in at nearly 38 grand. These are not impulse buys.
Don't lose heart. Most people try these on a rental basis because they do have advantages over the caravan. No 50-mile-an-hour limit, and with the passengers strapped in way down the back, it reduces that long journey earache. Most important for me, the food, the drinks and the toys travel with you. The temptation with a caravan is to dump it on a site and then explore in a car. Then you realise you forgot to pack all the things the kids need in the boot. Misery.
Driving impressions? Well, surprisingly, both are easy to drive, and they're similar in other respects too. Both have the Peugeot Boxer mechanicals, cabin and dash, but beyond the dinky gear lever, I definitely prefer the turbo engine in this Contiki. Come on, Eamon.
Easier said than done. I really would like to try the turbo Eldis. I'm travelling empty at the moment, so I'd guess if I stayed in the hills with the regular diesel, I'd end up with a tired left arm and MPG in the low 20s.
These really are mobile homes.
Both have big batteries and water tanks that make for all the luxuries. TV, video, fridge, shower, freedom. No endless hunt for the only tap.
Eventual replenishing is easy via little doors along the side. Even the loo empties out into sealed cassettes. Eamon, don't you dare.
Bit cramped in there. And make sure you choose one with sleeping arrangements to suit you. The Eldis can sleep 2, 4, 6, but it would make things a bit tight. So you'll all have to be on very good terms.
The Contiki has a large loo and a separate shower, but you only get 5 beds. Now we'll show you this just once. Still a tight fit, but a possible advantage here. With all the sleeping up at one end, this remains clear.
At the end of the day, both these motorhomes would be fine for a family with small children, although the eldest AutoQuest Elite with no roof access may be safer for the kids.
If I were touring Europe and wanted to cook for myself, I'd go for the Swift Contiki. I prefer the layout, and this model has an oven. So, Eamon, get cooking.
Oh yes, very civilised. Eamon O'Neill and Nikki Fox discovering the delights of motorhome ownership. Great if you're convinced you'd really use one all year round. Now, are you any good at really letting yourself go and enjoying yourself at the weekend? I know I am. Here's Nikki again with Food for Thought.
Today's event is definitely at the burger and chips end of motorsport. You might say it's more hot dog than hot rod. We're here at Causey Park in Northumberland to sample a spot of autocross. And you don't even need a track for this kind of racing, just an empty field and a lot of old cars.
Autocross, basically, to put a layman's terms, is car racing on grass. There are 4 cars in the track at any one time, but they're racing against the clock. Well, it started just after the war when I believe some enthusiasts were looking for a low-cost motorsport, and they used to use old airfields after the war, and it just gradually progressed from there. And as you can see today, we're using a grass field, but we can use farmers' fields, we use stubble, you know, after the harvest and things like that. Welcome you to this, the first Yellow Brick Road Autocross and the first round of the Newton Park Motors Annock Autocross Championship. Don't forget, tongue-in-cheek, this is a non-contact sport. This is a non-contact sport.
What are you looking for specifically on the car?
Basic things we're looking for. Is the car safe, basically? Are the wheels attached to the frame? They're not going to fall off. It doesn't actually need a roll cage in it for this sport. But things like windows, is it going to crack? Is it going to spear and shatter and spear the guy? It's very much grassroots motorsport. I mean, it's not high speed, it's relatively low. If you get into third gear around there, they'll be lucky.
Just pull that off there.
I used to drive a Maestro 2 litre, and I got myself a sponsorship deal, and he bought me this one for me.
This is a bit more stylish than a Maestro.
I don't know, it's a bit colder than a Maestro, but it seems alright.
What is it? Tell me a bit more about
it.
A magenta?
Yeah, it's definitely different.
How long have you been in the sport?
This is my 2nd year now.
How did you do last year?
I was joint first lady last year, and I come 5th in my class.
Doesn't matter, Pub, just leave it.
Well, I don't quite know what he's doing today. He's supposed to actually go round the track, not over the top of it.
It's adrenaline, pure adrenaline. You've got it's an awful feeling. It's a terrible feeling. You're sitting there on the line, any racetrack, anywhere you are, and you have this horrible feeling inside your stomach. I hate it, but it's just fabulous. You've got to do it.
You just got to do it.
You've got to do it.
If you think you know what this noise is, you could walk away with a mug or something, or pens or whatever you want. We've got to correctly identify the noise.
What is it? Colin! Huh? What was it? I think it's pop oil pressure just went hella shook. Doing rather. Pressure went and started making funny noises. So I thought it's time to stop.
A what? A traction machine? No. It's a piece of sports equipment, I'll tell you now, and I had to stand on a big chair to reach it.
Peter, it's for sale, but if I wanted to buy it, who pays who?
You pay me.
What's it going for?
1,500.
1,500? But it doesn't look...
I know, but it's the engine that's the best bit. That's all that matters.
It's got a great engine, has it?
Doesn't matter what it looks like, it's what it goes like.
All right.
You'll not be disappointed.
It's all point and squirt. What you've got to do,
No, it's a turn where you actually just have to get it in the right angle for the corner. Take the corner as gently as you can, and then go as quickly as you can to the next corner.
I tell you, it's days like today that the dedication of these grassroots racers really shines through. And if you're one of those couch potatoes that thinks that sitting at home in a nice warm living room watching Formula One on the telly is enjoying motorsport, then you haven't lived. If you believe that, you believe anything.
Yes, now's the time you'd wish you'd bought that fire extinguisher in the accessory shop. Well, that's it for this week. On next week's Four Wheels Good, Ginny will be reporting from Rome on one of the new generation of Oriental city cars that are catching on in Europe, the amazing little Daihatsu Move. Mike Rutherford will be in Barcelona test driving Mitsubishi's new Galant. Our cameras will be taking a close look at some real dream machines at the classic car show at Alexandra Palace, and also at a couple of vehicles that will probably never make it to the classic stage, our Granada crew cars. Plus, if you've always fancied a touch of luxury in your life, we can help you make up your mind which car to choose when we put a Rolls-Royce and a Bentley head-to-head and through their paces on a racing circuit. Can't wait for that. Join us next time.